Get to know all your favorite VRChat DJs all in one place. This is VRCDJLIVE.
Well, welcome everybody back to yet another wonderful installation of VRCDJLIVE. My name is Rob Roman. Great to have you here as we are live on remote here at VKet for day 2. And it seems like VKet has just been going on for days and days and days. But it is honestly the truth. And it's always really nice to have you part of the program. And just as you know, at home, we talk a lot about our DJs and the DJ community, whether it's dancers or performers or DJs or even people that are a part of the record labels and all sorts of stuff. And including here at VKet, where we talk a lot about not only all of the amazing events, but also, too, the amazing people that help kind of take care of business and things that run here, and of course just bringing light to especially the next couple of days to VKet. So glad to have you here, and of course we're going to be having some special guests show up just in a few moments, but at the same time we are live here in a public instance of Isekai Marche, the Eclipse version, and it's just meant to be just that. It's just meant to be us hanging out, talking about DJ stuff, kind of get to know what people's feelings are about the DJ stuff, as well as, again, just a lot of the content creators and a lot of the groups that have loved to stop on by to talk a lot about what we've got going on, especially for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if a lot of people did notice a lot of the different events that had been happening here, but we're talking events on such an extreme level, everywhere from jugglers to performers to dancers, all the dancers also having a lot of like particle effects and fire effects, as well as just a slew of DJs. I mean, most of the time it had just been kind of, there had only been one rave. And now that the DJ scene has kind of expanded since 2022, especially even last year, because of the fact that VKet was such a large entity by itself, it's actually really mind-numbing. And in my opinion, kind of a hard task to kind of put together as far as all of the different DJs and all of the different events that go on. But just as this event is focused highly on Japanese culture coming into Western culture, having those experiences for a lot of those people that don't actively come in here, but it's kind of more of an appointment to come into VKet to explore all that, definitely paves the way for a lot of musicians, performers, and I say musicians too, it's not just a matter of DJs as well, but performers as well, coming in, playing piano, playing their instrument of choice, and holding an actual concert. And what's great too is, like, even in the past couple of weeks, and even last year too, a lot of the Music Vket venues, not only featuring all of the different music stylings of a lot of the Japanese performers, a lot of Japanese users that are in VRChat, but a lot of just American users, people from Canada as well as in Mexico. There was a really big calling out for that. And having them have VKet kind of give them a stage and give them a way that they can come on and they can talk and they can perform in front of people. And for a lot of people, there's a lot of anxiety involved, and there's a lot of back and forth as far as the things that they want to present. A lot of and on top of all of the things that you can experience here in VKet as well, when it comes to avatars or even world creation, it's even a better understanding of just not even just performers, but there even is, through Music Vket 6, just a wide range of BGM performers, as well as ASMR artists, and just overall like calming music. And while I'm always a little bit focused in on that, it's also very interesting to see how the community tends to be a little bit widespread, as far as, we don't really want to just focus in on the fur community, even though it is important, as well as the anime community, or even, trying to build the latest, greatest something. But some of those things you really don't take, an eye on. And in fact, you'd be able to go in and experience that people are genuinely making background music, as well as, even rain sounds. It might not seem like the largest thing to talk about or the largest thing to kind of be a part of, but it's funny how someone somewhere has to go outside and record the rain. And even if you weren't to really think too much about it, like, where's the rain falling? Is it falling in a city? Is it falling in the rainforest, in the regular forest? But there is a calling for that. And funny enough, especially for those people that produce music, especially for people that are making stuff for copyright stuff like video games or in-world experiences, someone's got to be a Foley artist. Someone's got to create those noises. You can't just be ripping stuff off of YouTube, like, you have to be able to find those people, especially in the market, in the virtual market, that it's fun to see that there's people involved that are interested in looking for that sort of stuff. Normally on a regular day, you'd be going to Fiverr, or you'd be just kind of hitting up completely random people on the internet to try to figure out where to get all those things. But I think it works even best and better if you found people within your community that have access to that sort of stuff, as well as a lot of the opportunities for those people looking to branch out into much larger areas, especially in here. I know that there are even a lot of people in VRChat that are storytellers and they're story creators. And within the storytelling unit, it is really boiled down to, who do you know and who can you network with? And again, Vket is such a fantastic place to do that, not only because of the fact that you pretty much have the entity of VRChat coming in here to kind of explore, get to know a lot of different artists, especially the Japanese artists that have a different time zone and a time frame for us, but also to being able to reach out to those people that proactively try to sell their product. And obviously that's one of the things, that's one of the things. If you're a Foley artist and you're someone that makes sound effects and not really, I'm not really sure if you could copyright the rain because it's the rain, but also to be able to cultivate that. Someone has to make it. Someone has to be out there to do it. And instead of actually going to a much larger marketed brand that I feel like you would have to be paying a lot of dollars for, you genuinely can also you can also find someone in here that has just as much of a passion, if not already starting to learn more about it. So again, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Vket, especially while the worlds and the instances are available throughout the weekend and the week, as well as off season, that I believe that the latest version of all of the different worlds in Vket happen and kind of get left in VRChat so people can explore it during the off season. It's more important to be able to experience it now and finding the time to experience it now because of the amount of people that are in it, because the amount of businesses that are actively in here and dedicating a lot of their time to come in to work with the general public, as well as a lot of the contributors and the people that are interested. I know for myself, and kind of going off of a little bit of experience, especially feeding into those people that are joining VRChat for the first time, getting a good understanding of how avatar creation works. For them to come in and see the avatars and the different costumes that they have, the outfits that they have, is fun for everybody to explore and get a good idea, but especially for those that have actually done it themselves to dedicate a little bit of time to. But the people that don't actively know how to use Blender or Unity, obviously it's a little intimidating at the first time because you do want to spend the money. You do want to give props to the people that do create that sort of thing. But you definitely need some help. There's a ton of people that come in here to explore Vket with the models, and sometimes when they look at it, they're not really sure what to do with it, or where it would work out, or how it would work out. But just the fact that the market itself is such a large entity to kind of bring light to get a good understanding of, is super important to kind of to grasp upon and to be able to tell everybody about it. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. That's one of the reasons why VRCDJLIVE, outside of just sitting down with your favorite DJs and people within our community, we get an opportunity to, be able to talk to a lot of different people and see what they actually have to say. Actually, I think we have someone waiting downstairs that kind of wanted to come on up and say a couple of things. I know right now they're probably in a different overlay or something, but we'll get them up here as soon as we can. But of course, this is a live show, and we are in a public instance, so feel free to come on by, talk a little bit about stuff you got going on with Vket, and honestly, I thought you were moving so fast that you were actually gonna, like, sit there, and I was going to turn around and get scared or something. But come on in. How we doing?
Yo, hello.
Okay, bye. It's tough. It's tough with a lot of these booths because they don't have collision. Some of them have collision, but some of them, you kind of flying on by. But
There we go.
hey, welcome.
Hello.
I'm glad that you got to stop on by. And of course, this is a live show, so I'm not going to say that you have to be on your best behavior, but at the same time, the whole internet is watching. I'm just kind of go ahead and say it. But I see that you're part of Project Community and wanted to stop on by. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so my name is NovedPlayer. I run a podcast called the NovedNotes Podcast. I work with many different types of communities, whether it's role play or content creators, all sorts of different types of creators and communities. And I did actually watch the live with my fellow Project Community staff and Metaverse Degen. I work with all of them. They're amazing people. But yeah, I'm glad to kind of catch a live one.
Nice. So it's funny too because I was just talking with those guys too, and I had sent the video off to Wolfeeps, and I was like, I really do apologize because during that show, let me turn the camera over here so that way everybody can see what's going on. During that show is a little complicated because while this is something I ended up telling my staff a lot about too, is the fact that like this is a public instance. We're making it a public instance. We want people to come in and not only experience, not too many people come into a public experience, like anywhere in VRChat. So giving an opportunity for people to come in and explore Vket and be able to talk to people who love Vket as much as they want to and maybe hobnob and talk a little bit about, but even more so for the people coming in to be able to explore what it's like to have a remote show. We're doing this live and anything goes. And I know you just kind of swung on by and here we are. So that's one of the beauties of VRChat is the matter of the fact that like you can kind of pop in and kind of talk a little bit. So I welcome you to the stage and I welcome you here to the show. And I meant to follow up with that. I kind of got off a little topic there, but I was telling Wolfeeps about during that show we did have a lot of people come on in during the public instance, and I had to apologize because during the show there was somebody downstairs like drumming out of their mouth or something and being a little reckless, and I'm just like sitting here trying to listen to the conversation at the same time. We got people running around being an idiot, but I guess that's so it goes with public instances.
Oh, for sure. No, it happens. I mean, especially with, bigger, events like Vket and, other events, it's hard to kind of like sit down in like a small space like this without having other people in the background. It's difficult, but we manage. I mean, it sounded good from the Twitch end, so yeah, it sounded good overall.
I do appreciate that, of course, and again, this is our first time kind of doing anything remote access to, and I really hope that we can at some point in time. I think having this remote desk on an avatar, like a toggleable thing, would be really, really neat. So that way we could like, I don't know, broadcast live at the Pug or something, like or go and have a remote show at like Slyfest or something, or even at a Project Community event, really.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I say myself, I know the people that know me know I do this all the time. I do actually have my 2024 Project Fest booth on an avatar, and like you kind of said, I actually do sit in a great Pug sometimes, and I'll talk to people just to see, how people are doing and like what their scope of like VRChat as a whole is, just for the fun of it. Now, so it's definitely an easy idea to do.
Now, being part of Project Community and setting up all sorts of events as well as promotion goes, how has it been for the past couple of weeks as Vket keeps rolling on through?
Oh, it's been busy to say the least. Because not only am I, going around with Project Community, I'm actually exhibited also in Music Vket 6 as well, with the podcast and a bunch of, creator friends of mine who do music and a bunch of stuff. It's definitely been crazy because I'll world hop at random Vkets and they're like, "Oh, you're at Music Vket, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." It's weird. It's weird to have that, but it's really wholesome to see that people are going out to see all the Music Vket exhibitions, and not like some worlds are a little bit harder to see, like. At least in my opinion, I think like the toughest one is Gotchatopia, because going through them all and kind of doing that. But worlds like this one, like Isekai Marche and like Cirque des Personnages, it's more of a straight shot. You can't really miss anything on the way. But overall, like on the promotion side, it's definitely been busy, and we actually do have another event coming up here in a little bit. It'll be the Battle Disc tournament, which I'll actually be co-commentating on with Chris Connie, who is here.
Oh,
the
fun!
other live.
Yeah, he was telling me about it. Yeah,
so we're gonna be doing that here in like 45-ish minutes. But yeah, no, it's definitely crazy when it comes to the promotion side. Whether you're exhibiting or working with exhibitors, it's definitely crazy to think about.
It's funny that Deathmap actually was looking for people to help him out with the laser tag map. I think that was like a couple of days ago. And I was like, I'm so cracked at that, like, please invite me. And then one thing left to another, and it was the holidays, and we just kind of missed track on it. And I'm like, oh shucks, maybe some other time. But Battle Discs, like, just knowing that was going to be a kind of a main event kind of a thing, I'm honestly so surprised on how long Battle Discs has actually been in VRChat, even compared to at tournaments. Like, I just used to go in there and throw around those discs for fun. I didn't know that it was going to turn into this really big event thing. Is there a follow-up to that? Do they get a trophy for that? Do they get some sort of an award, or?
Not that I'm aware of at the current moment. I think it's just kind of like, oh, you won, yeah. It's I guess you could say bragging rights is essentially. There's no like physical trophy or anything like that. Maybe sometime in the future, if we can ask the creator to do that, maybe we can give like a digital trophy or something, like maybe for their world or put on their avatar or something.
Well, tell me a little bit more about this, because again, like just recently I got to join off of Lun, because Lun had a group together for the pool tournament, and he was even looking
Pool
for
parlor,
people
yeah.
to be part of Pool Parlor. But is there a genuine like club for Battle Discs? Is there a whole thing for that right now?
There's a few communities. If I remember correctly, the group that we are working with alongside PJKT, I believe it's called Battle Disc Union, is the community that we're working with. I actually got pulled last minute to commentate. So but I believe it's called Battle Disc Union. There's all sorts of Battle Disc communities out there, whether it's competitive or just for fun. I know in years past when there was tournaments, there was a huge competitive scene when it comes to Battle Disc, whether it's 1v1s or doubles tournaments, all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's mostly back in the day. I don't know which map we're using, if we're using the classic one or if we're using R3, which is the one that most people use. But I will say those two maps specifically are like the biggest competitive maps to work with, because the newest one, which was R4, with how open area it is, it's more battle royale-esque than like competitive tournament style. But there's a lot of cool things when it comes to the communities, and it's not even just Battle Disc, but also, like with the Laserdome and the Search Media community with their Avi Wars tournaments and all that. And there's Prison Escape also has tournaments too, once a quarter. Realistically, any VRChat game, at least in my opinion, most VRChat games can have a competitive scene, to say the least. But that's just the fun of it. Like, you'll have your for fun side, and then you'll have your hardcore gamers, as I like to say, who like to compete on that type of stuff.
It's so wild to think about that too, because I know a lot of people, we've had these types of discussions over the fact that people come in and they join VRChat, and then they kind of do everything, and then they get kind of bored after a while. And then when Vket happens, it's kind of like 2 weeks of just like candy and sweets, you know, like people come in and they're just like, oh man, there's so many different things to see and explore and do. But even more so, like the amount of events, and I know we were just talking about it at the beginning of the stream, but like we have a lot of events happening during VKet this year, and I on my honest opinion, I feel like it's kind of doubled since last year, based off of either like DJ events or events to learn over things, or even just the fact that there's all sorts of friendly sports competition. And again, you won't think too much about it besides Prison Break or even Battle Discs or the laser tag. Or even for that matter, I don't even know if there was a mini golf one, you know? Oh, you keep kind of falling
Not this time. I have no idea. I have no idea what my OVR is doing, but fair enough. It's wanting to drag me to the bottom floor, I guess. But no, when it comes to, there's so many different, and kind of like how you said, it kind of seems like it doubled. I know, because I actually talked to Lun as well. I actually had him on a recent episode of the podcast, and there's, with this year specifically, there's a lot more Western side of the VRChat community featured in this VKet and Music Vket compared to previous years. Whether it's, you know, communities or creators or, you know, world developers, all sorts of stuff. I mean, it definitely, at least this year specifically, it definitely seems like there's more of that Western side, as he kind of talked about. I think that's one of the reasons why this year it seems a lot more event intensive, I guess would be the way of saying it. That's how I look at it, because like you kind of said, there's a lot more events. Well, we have more people that do these bigger events that are more involved this year compared to previous years, or at least that's how I look at it, though.
Mm-hmm. And again, even too, like just for the past couple of months, like not only was there a lot of different events going on, but like I know that there's a volleyball map that is so unique. And even much so that, like, I know some content creators that have not only cultivated their team based off of their viewers on their streams, but even sat in a Discord call for many weeks to just make sure that everyone has their own volleyball outfit. And there was some lore to it, and there was just all this like intensity to it. And it kind of it's fun to see and it's fun to talk about, because those are the things that I wish VRChat got a little bit more light on, over the fact that like there are all these other events and all these other fun things going on. I mean, even just this year alone, and I know just up the road here, I think it's it's not Parasol. I think it's Parasol. There's a whole community here of art enthusiasts, and not just digital art, but also actual paintings made and sold through their club. And like they're like art aficionados, and people that want to learn more about art can be a part of that. We even, we just, I don't know if it's this map.
Strange Pair.
Yeah, the Strange Pair.
Yeah, Strange Pair.
So just learning about them this year was pretty great. I know we went to one of the, again, I've only been to the World and I keep forgetting the name, but it's the space one with the ships and you go to a
Starship Orchestra.
Yeah, Starship Orchestra. We even went there, and we were floored because we ran into a group of motorcycle enthusiasts that not only do the motorcycle stuff and the sports version of it, but they also have meetups, and then they go riding at the meetups, and that's so cool. Besides all of of course, the DJ stuff and the DJ scene, where we're proactively doing that, but we're just like, yeah, whatever, we're just doing having a good time. So just all of that involvement is just something that's way so unique, and I feel like it's underutilized in the VKet time, because I know VKet, they want people to come, they want to see the market, they want to see all the different clothings and the booths and stuff, but it is stuff that, like, for example, Ministries, we talked to them a little while ago, and Project Community, having so many different involvements, and not only social media wise, but also events going on in here as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and it's definitely crazy to think about when it comes to that, because you have people like Project and Ministry, but you have also these, bigger event organizations that strictly are like music, that focus on like charity events and all sorts of like, giving back to the community type of events. And it's crazy to think about like what we as a VRChat platform can do. I know like Corbell, for example, and Scout the Goldie, both of their communities, they've raised thousands upon thousands of dollars for charity, different charities across the, US and outside of the US. And it's crazy what we can do. VRChat has definitely grown over the past, ever since COVID was the big boom of VRChat, at least that's how I look at it. And it's just been constantly going on and on ever since.
Yeah, and
we've grown so much.
And even just the charity part of it too. I feel like just nowadays during the holidays, it seems kind of expected to do a bunch of charity stuff. And while that can be, it's also super important to recognize it all the time too. And again, while Vket is such an amazing place overall with all the different worlds and experiences and stuff, I think it is really hard to kind of rally it all up together without rally it all up together to not only be able to find a schedule, but a way to constantly push it through social media without it being like there's posts every 3 hours or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It could definitely be very intense in that regard. Yeah, no, it's a lot to think about in that regard, because there's so many different walks of life and so many different things that go on within this platform. It's kind of nuts. At the end of the day, it's really nuts, because there's no other VR social platform that can do what we do here in VRChat. There's some that are, getting into the, the baby steps of doing what we do, but VRChat is a place that like a lot of people can, grow, not only like as a creator, but as a, community once they join like these groups. Groups was probably one of the biggest things that came to VRChat, because now, you can properly advertise a place rather than like a Discord server, be like, oh yeah, you want to join this community, join this group code, or here's an invite to the group. It's a lot easier to, I guess the word would be market. It's a lot easier to market nowadays compared to like, say back in like 2017, 2018 VRChat.
And it's a virtual market.
It just kind of depends on how you look at it. It's a virtual market, exactly.
I was like holding my breath there a little bit, being like, when do I make the joke? But even more so, like, again, at the beginning of the stream, we were talking a little bit about Music Vket, and it was really nice that you mentioned that you have a spot in Music Vket this year. What is that like for you and your process of putting that together?
It definitely was. It's definitely an interesting thing, because as somebody who's like been around like these events, I've never had a booth at a VKet period. So this is actually the first year, and actually Lun was actually at one of my DJ events, practically begging me and a bunch of the DJs at the event, to apply for Music Vket. Because Music Vket, it actually almost didn't happen because of lack of submissions, surprisingly enough. But they did manage to do it, and it looks absolutely amazing. But being as an exhibitor, it's definitely an interesting thing, because that world gets so many visits, and most of them are private instances, and that's completely fair. But you'll have the live room, and you'll have communities perform like events and stuff in there, and if you go to like random public instances, you might get to hear some live performances without even realizing you're going to go see one.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits too, especially when, I know VKet itself is very overwhelming just based on how many world instances there are, but I know a lot of people, when they get into Music Vket, they'll trail off into one direction, and then they'll kind of do the whole lap, and then say, well, that was fun, but then they totally forget there's like 6 other doors and like 6 other floors of the sorts of music and stuff. So just that alone is super intimidating. But at the same time, what's so fascinating to me, and we opened the stream a little bit about it, was just the fact that there are a lot of people with different talents and musical stylings that we haven't even decided to think a little bit about. I know there were a lot of submissions for ASMR kind of content, and you would never think about looking for that, but there is a demographic for that, as well as background music for games and stuff. You know, you would just think, oh, I'm a DJ, I'm going to do the DJ stuff. I'm a rocker, I play the guitar, or I'm a singer, so I'm just going to do that. But just the fact that there are people out there that are like, I personally think it would be really difficult to try to sell background music, because people are just like, oh, you're probably just like slamming on the keyboard and then that's it. But that part of it's so fascinating too, because again, you could be living in Japan making background music, and then you have the whole Western culture just being like, why am I not buying this? Why am I not invested in this?
Yeah, and with Music Vket, not all of them are for specifically buying. You know, it's just like now streaming or now playing. So, you know, you get to, at least you can hear it for free, or you can buy it depending on, you know, the case scenario. Speaking of like the world background music, there's actually one in particular that I really enjoyed when it comes to the background music. There's one, it's kind of like, if you ever remember the old, like the SNES, NES, like the F-Zero series, there's a person who is currently working on a world for like an F-Zero style game, and they exhibited the music for that game at Music Vket, and I thought that was probably the coolest thing that I've ever seen. You know, not many people know about like the whole Captain Falcon F-Zero series, but hey, it's got a niche audience, but hey, it was really good. And you know, you got your, like you said, the ASMR, you got some podcasts in there. You also do have like voice actors in there. It's a very vast, what's the word? There's so many different types of artists when it comes to Music Vket this year. And that's also one of the biggest things with this year's Vket, because it's a lot more open to audio, period, not just music, which I think, at least in my opinion, is kind of it's a nice opening, you know, for more auditory based creators to exhibit.
Not only is Vket a really nice place to network, but also get to meet new business, allies, and just talking business overall. I think a lot of people keep forgetting over the fact that, you know, we are just a DM message away to being like, hey, do you want to collab? Hey, do you want to work together? Hey, you want to do this? And when it comes to Music Vket, it seems... people think that it might seem like it's a difficult thing, but imagine this, right? Imagine you have people that are in VRChat and they're making this type of background music and it sounds awesome. And let's just say you want to stream with it. I would assume there's just a DM away, you know, a DM saying, hey, I would love to stream this. Can I get some permission? How much would it cost for permission? And be able to use it. But that's also kind of engaging the community even more to be like, hey, this person streams. Hey, this person's on VRChat. Hey, check them out. I'm going to use it on stream. And then, you know, you don't get clapped by DMCA later on down the road. Obviously, those are different things that you're thinking way outside the box, but at the same time, that's kind of what you're kind of like. You probably should be hyper focusing on. I mean, if you're going to make business connections here in Vket as well, you might as well talk to those people about it as well. So, we are running out of time with you though. Before we get on out of here, let's talk a little bit about your podcast and tell me about what you got going on with that. I would assume it's up on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and a bunch of other platforms. Pretty much most platforms that you can find podcasts on, it is on there. Yeah, I talk to many different creators and communities when it comes to VRChat. Ironically enough, and I know he's sitting right down here, you can't see him in the camera, but Lion Turtle and Raptor, they're a pretty big inspiration when it comes to the podcast. I started it early this February of 2024 and have been doing weekly uploads since. But yeah, no, it's really crazy what this VRChat platform can do. And I love to showcase and talk to people and kind of pick their brains a little bit of like, you know, what got them in here? What do they do for like the general listening audience? You know, to give a platform for VRChat creators and communities, no matter what their size is, to kind of showcase what they're about. It's also one of the reasons why I'm glad to be project community staff for the media team and community relations. It's because I love doing this type of thing. It's definitely one of my passions when it comes to VRChat entirely.
Definitely seems like something right up your alley. What are some of the videos that you like to? What stylings of videos do you like to produce during your podcast program?
Yeah. So when it comes to the podcast in particular, yeah, no line. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm going to use it anyway. But so with a lot of podcasts, it's mainly auditory focused. With my podcast in particular, I do hours upon hours of editing work. So if people watch the video, because Spotify now has video available on podcasts now too. So if they watch it on YouTube or Spotify, they can actually see what we're talking about versus just hearing two or three people talk about it. I try to give each creator, not only a place to talk about it, but also for the audience can see it. And of course, there's shorts versions on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, which who knows how long that's going to last at this point, but we'll see. But when it comes to the video side, it's definitely an interesting thing. Because realistically, I wasn't expecting to go as hard as I do with my podcast. I've got told a lot by a lot of my community and a lot of my friends that I need to take a break. I don't ever take breaks. I'm always working on something.
That's right. Keep
whether
chasing the
it's my own
bag.
stuff or community, or if it's like community collabs. We talked about Pool Parlor earlier. I actually helped them with their New Year's submission video, and I only had like 2 hours to do it because long story short, they needed somebody to do it, and it was very last minute. But they were so enthralled with what I did within 2 hours. They're like, "Hey, we love what you do. Can you make a world trailer for the new Pool Parlor that's going to come out late December?" I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
So I do so many different types of, video styles, whether it's, funny, haha, shorts content, or, more informational stuff like the podcast. I'll say this has been really the first year I've gone so, I guess, hard on myself when it comes to the video like content and stuff, but it's definitely a crazy thing. And then I got my whole New Year's, like my 2024 wrapped recap, whatever you want to call it. That probably took about 2 whole months to edit together for a 2-minute video, because there was so many different communities that I had worked with, and I wanted to showcase each and every collaboration that I did. It's crazy to think about. That's honestly, if I had to pick one style of content that, or one style of thing that I love to do the most, it's collaborations. It's working with other communities, other creators, just to kind of make something new.
And then just be able to showcase it. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
NovedPlayer, right? That's how you say your name?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You got it.
And I see that you DJ too.
I do.
Okay.
I've been DJing IRL since 2014, and I on a blue moon I'll DJ in VRChat when I'm not busy with everything.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, I feel like we definitely should get together at some point in time to continue talking a lot about all the different things that you do for our community and the things that you love to showcase about VRChat, because we really do need people like you to be able to showcase a lot of positivity in our community outside of some of the slang garbage that we continue to see on YouTube. I mean, I don't want to be so honest about it, but I'm kind of honest about it because I'm just like, what am I sitting here?
Right.
Yeah, and of course we would love to try to get you on VRCDJLIVE on the next iteration to talk more about your DJing stuff.
Absolutely, and I would love to, get to learn more about you. And the seat's always open if you ever want to come on the NovedNotes. I love talking to all sorts of people, and I actually do have some DJs in line. I know I'm running a little bit behind. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say your boss is pointing at you over there. Yeah.
Yeah, we got about 22 minutes. But
yeah, there you go. Sweet. Well, we do have our next guest on, but I definitely loved having you on the show, and of course we'll get together and we'll talk more about all the stuff that you got coming down the line.
Absolutely, it's lovely to be here, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, cool. Enjoy your event. And of course, for those people that are watching at home, we do have our next guest sitting around. Oh, I see him down there. Sweet. Come on up, you guys.
Hello.
Of course, yeah, I think a lot of people. I wish you could see. We should just get Chris over here all the time, just being like, tonight, you
What the hell are you pointing for? What do you think you're, a salesman? What the hell?
No, it's just a super fan wants a photo signed or something.
Wait a minute, I'm down here. Hold on, I gotta get bigger.
This was the man that I had a 2.5-hour episode with.
On a podcast? No. I have the longest interview. I don't know if you knew that.
He does. It's at 3 hours.
That's 3 hours and 16 minutes.
You're
the one at 3?
I'm the guy. Listen, if you've been in this game for so long, if you've been in here for 6 to 7 years, you have all of the time to talk about it.
It's okay, Chris. We give out suckers after the event. We'll make sure you get one so we don't hurt you.
Merry Christmas. Here you go.
He was going to give out cookies, but everybody bitched about the milk. So
We don't have a budget for cookies, Raptor. So we're going to deal with the lollies we get from the bank.
And that wasn't milk.
Oh, God, you ever had some of those from the bank? I think they've been there for 20 years. It's like chewing on rocks.
Anyway, guys, welcome back to VRCDJLIVE. We're just kind of rolling right along with our guests and having Lion Turtle and Raptor back here from Metaverse Degen. Guys, welcome back. And now I can finally see you this
Well, I
time.
appreciate it, Rob.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's
Did Mama tell you have a pretty smile?
Shh.
He's got good dental insurance probably, but yeah, welcome on back. And it's interesting too because like we had so much to talk about last week that even much more so that things are wrapping up now. And it's funny how I was just constantly sitting here kind of looking around. I'm just like, why isn't there anybody showing up? But at the same time, like it's Friday, it's the Friday before Christmas. People are out doing rave stuff. They're doing DJ events and getting maybe going home for the holidays or maybe pulling their hair out for the holidays. But obviously real glad to get you guys back here.
I did that today.
You were pulling your hair out?
Sorry for being
I had to
late.
go with my mom and dad.
Cool. Sorry for being late. I was at the whims of the video editor waiting for the loading bar to finish.
Oh no, that's perfectly okay. I mean, it's fun too because like again with a live program like this, it gives me an opportunity to sit and kind of talk some more DJ stuff or even more Vket stuff that I think sometimes I even forget a little bit about. And not to mention too, like I was sitting here, I bought Taco Bell. I don't know if you guys know, but Taco Bell has new chicken nuggets, and oh my gosh. Get ready for the chicken nugget wars because not only are they delicious, but apparently they pack so much protein that people are saying that it is the after gym snack to get your protein boost.
Oh.
Like they're saying 10 pieces of chicken nuggets is 75 grams of protein.
Wait a minute. First things first, chickens don't have nuts. And secondly, goddamn, there's a lot of protein in those. Wow, I didn't know that. I better find some. Oh, hey, no problem. Okay, man, I'm losing my mind
Well,
here.
now that I know that chickens don't have
problem.
nuts, then I don't actually have to look for them. So I'm glad that's a factual thing.
I hope you're not running around going, hey, can I check out your chicken?
Listen, I live in Central Florida. There's a lot of weird things that happen here, but
yeah, I know. I've heard a lot of weird things in Florida. It's like Nevada. What stays there stays there. Nobody says nothing after you walk past.
That's
Get in
right.
your car and you go, I'm going home. Yeah, I know it.
So what have you guys been up to since last week? Has there been any major developments as far as the Metaverse Degen has been going?
This is the last week of our little hiatus. We did a bunch of scheduling for the next coming weeks, and today I was processing next week's episodes, which I know last week when you had us on, you're like, any sneak peeks? And I was like, I didn't have anything quite planned out yet. But yeah, we're gearing up to get right back up to it starting Sunday.
That's super exciting. But I would also think that with you guys as well, that things are very busy because of the holiday season. It really crept up to us pretty fast, especially during the fact that Vket was around too. But what's your schedule looking like for the rest of the year? You guys could take a big old break.
The rest, we just finished our big break.
What?
But
break? 2 weeks vacation is about as far as we get. Now we're all back into it again.
There you
Ain't gotta
go.
love it there. Yeah, but,
We have the next 3 weeks scheduled out already. We've got next week's videos and the weeks after gearing to be finished and processed. We are going to be at Fest coming up in late June, I believe, as well, PJKT, and hopefully summer VKet too.
It's so what with this? There's a new festival going on with the Project Community. What's that all about?
PJKT Fest, they're usually gearing up for summer. I'm not quite sure if they have hardcore dates scheduled out yet, but I'm hoping to be there again because I remember last year it was a whole lot of fun. I enjoyed myself.
Oh God, I
meeting
had
all the
so much
communities.
blast there.
It was
That
really
so much fun.
It was
Oh,
neat to talk to them last week too, because one of the really big questions I had for them was, obviously 2025, brand new year, getting in some new users coming up very soon, and for me to deny that, the fact that we're getting new users, I would be a fool, because that happens. I even went in today on desktop to go see a friend DJ today, and they were just asking me, they're all like, "Hey, why are you on desktop?" And I'm just like, "Because I'm lazy." But they're like, "So you could be lying in bed and doing that on your phone." And I'm like, I could do that on my Apple phone now? Like, why would I do that? But only that, too. I was asking them, I was like, where do you think VRChat could be headed in the new year? And what do you think we need to do to continue our successes? And they ended up responding with, we need more events. And that blew my mind a little bit, because I'm just like, we already have tons of events, dude. Like, I mean, we just had someone come on up here and talk about how they have all these different sporting events during VKet, and obviously they're on their way off to do they're doing battle discs. They're doing a battle disc tournament just now. But even that, again, that blows my mind, just because battle discs has been in here for ages, and I would have never known that people are still active in doing that.
Really? You didn't know? Battle Disc has been still going on for a while. I also know that they're doing Laser Dome tournaments still, and that's been going on for years also. And I just finished that tournament recently as well through PJKT with Sirix as well. And if anyone out there has never played Laser Dome, you definitely should. It is a fun game, honestly.
I think
Battle
that man is a genius when coming to like new engaging technologies in VRChat and gameplay. And earlier, before we had you on, we were talking a little bit about there's this really strong volleyball community now of people wanting to go. There's a volleyball map that you can go to. It's so neat. And being able to volley that ball, and you have like 10 people playing on the teams, and they've gotten so addicted to it that they are genuinely making a bracket, and they're trying to do a volleyball bracket. So,
oh, really?
All of that is super.
Wow, cool.
It's super interesting to me, just because like we're entering into a whole nother, just kind of an arena, if you will, and a whole nother time of what is going to be the next greatest thing in here. And I honestly believe that people really want to get a little bit more active. I would even hate to think that the Beat Saber community will continue to grind to make a much cooler Beat Saber map in VRChat at some point in time.
There's, I believe, already a few Beat Saber maps, and there's a Drum Hero as well in VRChat too.
But having all those...
Go
ahead.
Sorry. Nope, I lost. It's okay. You continue.
Holy shit! I feel like I have a goddamn tennis racket. Goddamn it! Where's the ball?
You're
I'll go
part of
pick
the
it up.
sports team
You guys
now.
are bouncing back.
You got to figure out which sports team
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
just
do.
gotta go chase the ball.
I think
Chase the ball.
I think it would also be pretty impressive to like not really have like a celebrity tournament, but at the same time they have celebrity like mini golf sessions. But if we were to find like I mean, I don't know, like the most popular streamers on Twitch that do VRChat, we'll get them all together for a mini golf tournament to see who will dominate in the most successful streamer community mini golf. But like, we have it here. I'm surprised that we're not doing that yet, you know?
That'd be entertaining. I'd watch. Even if we were to get people like the VKet and VRChat staff to face each other, that'd be entertaining too.
I honestly, I want to get more VKet involved. Like, I know VKet is busy as an entity to try to bring in new businesses and new people and new ideas, and even again the translation barrier between Japan and the Western culture. But I would really love for them to kind of come in and just do a month. Like, they have a monthly, I think it's on Wednesdays, they have a monthly meetup where they kind of go to different worlds and stuff. But I think that would continue to add to the charm of VKet being like, well, we're here, we're doing the worlds. Why not have a pool parlor tournament? Why not have a mini golf tournament? Why not, maybe go to some of Jar's worlds and do some stuff with Jar and understand, what some of the stuff that they got going on.
It would also be a good way doing things like that too, to get not just their audience to see what else is here, but create more of an incentive to see what else is available and a reason why you'd want to invest in something like Virtual Market or VRChat. It is not just people making avatars, but there's pool tournaments, as you said, or an entire volleyball tournament that goes on.
And
good way to get people they know to see other stuff.
Not even that too, but like we definitely have enough sports commentators in here. You know, we definitely have people to come in and you know, whether or not they want to like be role play as one and have the voice as one, or people that genuinely have done it in their careers, or even just to have a bunch of podcast people there too, and just kind of I think that would be fantastic content, to be real. I mean, you'll be on the sidelines kind of interviewing people as they're winning or how they're feeling, and just make a big old artwork thing out of it. I think that'd be really neat.
It would be really neat. Honestly, cool. I'd love to see that stuff.
I think it'd be cool to have tricycle butt races. That'd be cool.
Well, we have the Ski-Doo map. I mean, you guys can get into like your swimwear and just be like on a floaty and just interview people as they zoom on by their Ski-Doos.
Zoom by. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think tricycle races would be funny because everybody's laughing at you over there trying to pedal away, trying to get around the course. That'd
See, the thing about Udon though is that you can limit the speed on those too, so you can go really slow and it would be really funny.
Yeah.
You could force people to actually move their feet, have their feet lock onto the tricycle and have them do this. So people look on the outside into the person doing the headset. They look ridiculous.
I would have to be doing so many crunches or sit-ups leading up to that because I'm just going to be sitting there like pedaling and my guts will be like screaming at me. It's bad enough I had Taco Bell before this, but at the same time, like that's not a prerequisite, of course.
Now wait a minute. Did you get potatoes in a pound? Did you get a pound of potato lace?
I got so with the chicken nuggets, they have a combo meal that comes with the fries, nacho cheese dipping sauce, a taco, and a chalupa, and the chicken nuggets.
Oh.
And it was only $11. Amazing.
That's not a bad deal for $11.
Yeah, you get the 5-piece nuggets.
I just want to know where you stored it all. Holy criminy!
Oh, and this,
Jesus,
yeah,
that's a lot.
she eats a lot. She gets impressive. She'll eat like a whole stack of pancakes, no problem. But the voice behind the girl is a chunky boy with no hair. Yeah, so I'm good. I practically live there. Anyway, it's VRCDJLIVE. We're here live at Vket. We're here with Line Turtle and Raptor of Metaverse Degen. One of the things that we were talking with Midnights in Valhalla was the fact that why not get a Vket reel in the States? Why can't we have that here?
Yeah.
So I kind of want a little bit of your thoughts and opinions on it.
To be quite honest, with a lot of conversations I've had with people off air and these just running around, there'd be a huge need for some sort of VR event convention like that here. People usually treat meetups like conventions. They'll go use furry conventions as VR meetups. But if there's something like VKet in the States, I'm sure people would flock to it. I almost guarantee you they would.
Yeah.
And
I'd go.
Even more so, like
I'd love to go.
I would love for it to. I mean, I know VKet works really well hand in hand with VRChat, and why can't we have a VRChat convention? Why can't we?
Well, that's a really good question. I'd love to see one. Why not have one? But that's also for up to the ones who would plan those kinds of things to want to do something like that. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Oh, the community? You bet the community would want that, though. That's the thing. I think the problem is
the community would love it. No questions about it.
Yeah, I think the problem would be is even though it is for the community, is run by the community, it would be a matter of first of all funding, unless people are going to get snarky and just be like, Tupper, stop buying your third boat, or I don't know, whatever. They'll end up doing whatever they're doing with that. But but at the same time too, it's kind of a weird thinky thought of who would be performing and who would be featured and what the panels would look like and all that sort of stuff.
Oh,
hi.
Yeah, there's quite a few people. Hello.
Are you guys live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh,
so you're kind of in the shot.
It's okay. Well, I'll take steak and eggs. Oh, they left again. Can't always miss out on that.
No, there's a public instance. You know, people don't understand spatial of what's actually happening here. We're not role playing an actual show. We're doing an actual show. You would also think my security's sitting around here somewhere too. Oh, they just got here. Okay,
it
cool.
would be pretty funny to role play a podcast with no camera on for no reason.
Oh God,
just be able to just sit in the pug and pretend that we were doing a show, but then like it would be the biggest goof moment. Yeah, be the biggest goof moment. Be like, oh, you're showing up for the show and you're not. Yeah, we're rolling. And then we're not rolling.
You're not rolling. Yeah, be great. Just put the camera out there and just let it roll. And oh, yeah, sure, you're doing a live show, and you're going, yeah, we're doing great. Want to join? Oh, okay. Then after it's all said and done, it wasn't on. It just put it out there to make it look good. Oh, hey, so no problem.
So I have a question for you, Rob, as well, in the conversation we had prior about a VKet Reel in the States.
Sure.
Who would you want to see featured or play at something like that here?
Yeah, that is such a dirty question to ask me, bro. I mean, the fact that I'm hosting this show, it's tough.
Push your luck. I'm right here. You don't need to get working with it.
It's like, oh man, I actually have to do my job. It's real. We're streaming live. It's difficult. That's a very difficult question to answer because it's almost as similar as like TwitchCon. You know, like with TwitchCon, everybody wants to be featured, and then the people that are featured that have a lot of notoriety and they're kind of all over the place. Some people may not like that, and some people might be like, well, if so and so got featured, then I can get featured. And then it's just for that, it's more of a popularity contest. For us, if we, I would be more interested to see people doing panels and who could provide those panels. The problem is you know, while VRChat itself is a really large entity to begin with, I know Twitch is a much larger entity outside of that, but the panels for an IRL thing, it would have to kind of boil down to how much can a group put together for a 1 hour panel that will benefit that community. For example, I know for an average con goer, you occasionally have the cosplay medic that runs around, and they've got the pins, they got the sewing utensils and the stuff that because cosplays do fall apart, and having that panel is important for just the community in general, so that way people can either get a better idea of how to cosplay, what they would need for the tools to cosplay, stuff that they would need to carry with themselves during cosplay, but also too like let's just say, for example, that you have one about fur models too, you know, that is such a wide range topic because you do genuinely, like, I don't know if I would assume that the rule of thumb is if you wanted to get a fur model done, you would raise up those thousands of dollars to be able to get something that's kind of medium grade or a little bit higher, or you would just go half fur. But the problem with that though is you have to go based off of your body size, and if you're going to grow, if you're going to grow outward, or if you're going to lose weight, or all that other sort of stuff. But I would also assume that there would be some manipulation with tailoring that would aid in that. So while learning about cosplaying would be great, again, that's a wide range topic with a ton of different questions and answers. Just for 1 hour of programming. Now, the difference between VRChat and a real life convention would be that VRChat is 24 hours in all different countries. So, and different tongues too. So even if we had a VRChat convention in the United States, well, let me take it back a little bit further. If we have it in the United States, we might have a hard time with competition. We might have a hard time being like, what does VRChat want for their convention? As opposed to who submitted, who can get time slots to do whatever they want to do, you know.
Competition in means of other conventions or competition from within the platform?
Within the VR,
because having more than one person want to showcase is not a bad thing. It means you have lots of content in the future. You may not be able to have them today with the panels and the showcase and stuff, but there's still the years next people can go, and that's having too much is not a bad problem to have.
Right. I think also too that if we were to have a VRChat convention or a VR convention, they would invite other businesses that would aid in better VRChat success and hold panels with those businesses to kind of get an idea of, okay, And also too, this is also a real snarky, great idea. But if we were to hold a small convention, you can go there and test out all the different headsets so you can gauge your own opinion on which ones you want to spend, rather than spending $400 up to $1,000 up to, however much you want to, even with the full body thing. That was the beauty at TwitchCon too, was there was a booth, if you could believe it or not, there was a booth that was featuring full body tracking without any trackers attached to your body. Which was so cool. And I wish I could, and they slapped the sticker on it, can use in VRChat. And I was like, no, what? No.
Is it the same one that requires your phone to have to use on it? Because I know there's some people in Quest to use a similar program for VTubers.
I think that they were trying to market it like that. I think so. I tried to go up to the booth, but I was very limited on time that weekend. And I was just like, oh man, it's just one of those things that I wish I could invest more time in. But while Virtual Market gives the common VR chatter, the experience to understand avatars and world making and all sorts of particles and stuff like that, that's the one thing that we're missing out on, is the fact that, again, headsets are expensive, and you could be in here on desktop, and that's fine. But if you're looking to add more spice to your experience, you're going to want to get a specific headset. And then on top of a tool, on top of it too, you don't want to seem like you're getting ridiculed for getting something that's cheap. You know what I mean? Like that ship sailed a long time ago. But at the same time, you got people coming in here with like, oh, I've got a Quest 2, and they're all like, well, how come you didn't have enough money for a Quest 3? Like, I don't know, because you got a Quest 2. Like, I don't understand. But that's kind of it too. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Even with things like that, people like not having the most recent tech, a conversation here a lot between people is, I want to upgrade my stuff, whether it's a headset or your computer, or even from Vive 2.0s to 3.0s or to Slimes. And that would honestly give both the companies who make those tech and the VRChat, Vket communities to like, what is the new tech? Is it something I want to invest in? Hey, cool. This is the newest haptic glove controller setup that I've been hearing about. Do I want it? Use it. Yes, I want it. And then they could leave the convention if they sell it there with the same thing they want. And that's a conversation here all the time from people. I want the newest headset. Does it have face tracking? Is it full body compatible? Does it work with Steam Link, or do I have to use AirLink? Can I do the copies work well? Well, they're actually upgrading to have PC compatibility now. It's a lot more of a viable option. Those conversations I hear regularly between people. So having those panels between those various companies and people who tech communities that create that stuff, a great way to both the VR community and that side of the tech side to like intermingle in a way.
I think it'd also be a really quirky scenario for VRChat too, to kind of be like, we're hosting this VR experience. And I know that there are conventions out there that feature lots of virtual reality and an understanding, but that's also an ongoing in progress kind of business and business model, as opposed to something that they're currently releasing. But I think VRChat themselves, and I'm not saying listen up VRChat, but I'm kind of saying it. If you invite the companies to come and be a part and give them a booth, if you were to give them a booth, that way they could be there, and then like obviously you sell tickets for people to come in and then probably make that money back based on how much you spent on a convention. All of those people could be future business partners for VRChat. You could implement it a different way, and you can implement it for ways we could probably make VRChat a much bigger powerhouse based on what you actually use. Like, for example, the Quest users have their own versions of worlds as opposed to like PC players. But I would also think that at some point in time, like, I wouldn't say a complete potato mode, but you could technically have VRChat as a complete potato mode. That is also comfortable enough to not seem like you're playing on a PlayStation 1 or something like that.
You do got a good point there. And also with, at least on the tech side, they're taking big gaming PCs and crunching it down to something the size of smaller than a bread box. So I'd say even in the next couple of years, you'd have like VR headsets with the same power of what I'm using right next to me now, which could also level the market the other direction with social VR, where you won't, the worlds that for Quest 2s may evolve over time as things go with it.
And that also
They're
drives me a
always
little
looking to
batty
make
too,
things
just
stronger.
because like you have companies like Big Screen, and people were really big about that, how you can have such a small bit of technology on your face, doesn't weigh too much, but you still get the clarity that you would on the index. Yet when you go down to the really minute details, the minuscule details about like how you don't have 8K resolution or 4K resolution and blah 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 blah, blah, and you have to wear your own headphones or something like that. Like obviously it's a mood killer if you have to wear your own headphones, but does that really compare to something else that you could own? You know, like be okay with a little bit of like it doesn't have enough battery life. You know, like be okay with that. If you can get full clarity in what you're doing with no lagging and it's light so it doesn't feel like anything and it's customizable, then I don't know, there really shouldn't be any room for complaining, besides the fact that you spent about $1,000 for it to put it on your face. You know, that's the only thing I would think about complaining a little bit about. But
quite honestly, I'm just happy
what?
they're. You continue. I'll finish my sentence after.
What I was going to say, I think it'd be cool if they had actually a for VRChat and stuff like this doing that. Wouldn't it be great to have you there as the announcer, Rob? Actually sitting in a DJ booth, sitting there talking, and everybody can actually.
Yeah, that would be my problem. I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm getting at is, so it wasn't being blasted to a regular radio setup. What I'm getting at is you would actually have a setup on your phone that you could put an earbud in your ear and hear what's going on, and the people that are in there that are at the setup and everything else like this, you could interview them and everything else, and they'd hear you through your phone, so you were not blasting over everybody else that's trying to do whatever, but they could listen to it on their phone through a website with an earbud in and hear what you're doing there in the setup and who you're interviewing and everything else like this. And that puts those people out, if they're got a booth or something like this, that they're trying to whatever they're doing and everything else like this, they'd find out, okay, but you're doing it there to help those people out and stuff like this. So it actually works in a way that would actually work that way. And you get people knowing where certain things are at, you're helping them out. You know, if somebody, you know, instead of, you know, somebody going, hey, you know where this booth's at, you are actually putting it out there because you are doing the DJ set on their head, you know, and you're giving those marks of where people are located while you're still doing your interviews when you're not having anybody there, that you could say blah, blah, blah for each booth that's located wherever it is. And it's like a, you know, commercial, but it's all inside the building and it's not being blasted out, but it's in your headphones on your cell phone on a website, because you can do that. And it'd be the way to go. And you're putting out that and putting that information out, instead of somebody being at an information desk going, no, I got to walk all the way back there.
Right.
Well, if they listen and they've got a map and you're doing it for them, you don't got the person standing, the guy that's looking for so-and-so and can't find it, not the person, but the booth. I can't find that booth and I know it's here. And, you know, he might turn his back and just for a brief second, walk right past and didn't even notice. But see, that would help out in a lot of ways. Plus, you're interviewing other people in the setup that's there. You might see somebody walking by. Come here. You want to be on radio? Come here. But it's not really radio. It's just on your phone inside the building. And people would, you know, what do you think of what's going on? What do you think of the event? Da da da, like this. Are you having fun? All that kind of stuff. You're pulling people from the crowd, and people like that kind of stuff. And you don't realize how much people would love to know what's going on, even in events, stuff like that, that's going on during the ordeal and stuff like this. And you'd have a list and understand what's going on, because you'd find out where everybody's booth is. You would know where it's at, and you'd just be rattling off. And that helps. You don't realize that little information that you're dishing out, even if you're there in a booth, talking away, stuff like this, people are going to surround you and everything else like this, but they're listening to you, and it's going nuts. To me, it would help out a lot.
I know there's definitely a lot of different ideas behind a kind of like a VRC radio, like a VRC chat radio, or even just the fact of again interviewing a bunch of people. I would love to go to TwitchCon and have just a booth where I sit there and say, come on over and just chat with us for a bit. Doesn't matter who you are, talk about what you have to say. Obviously, there's a little bit of moderation that has to happen. You know, we can't just have someone in here and spewing political nonsense, or at the same time, like, you know, their thought process, depending on if people don't believe them or not. You know, just, you know, I'm like, okay, great, your opinion's great, but at the same time, like, you know, we're actually talking about a topic. I thought you were going to be snarky, being like, maybe I should have a booth at the VRChat Con where people can be in the mix with Rob. I would be there, being there in the mix because I'm DJing, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a picture with Rob Roman being in the mix." I'm glad you didn't go down that route.
Well, no, I didn't go there. No. Well, if you want to, why not? You brought it up. Yeah,
honestly,
I want to go that route, but I was just, you know, I figured it'd be so much a situation that, because I know when you do radio, you have to have a license for a radio and all that kind of stuff. And if you're putting it out where it's on radio, you're going to have to go through, and that's a lot of red tape. But if you're just doing it in the building itself, and you're talking away, and people see you walk by, and you got your glass, and you're in a booth and stuff like this, and they think that, oh wow, you know, but you got that where, oh, I can download this app on my phone, put an earbud in, or listen to it with just my phone in my hands, and everything else like this, you're only broadcasting there, and you don't have to worry about a license, because you're not really doing a live broadcast, you're just doing it inside the building.
That's right.
And people would get a lot, and they'd find out a lot of information, stuff that what's going on. Hey, you know, it might even be something that you, just like you said, hey, I had Taco Bell today. There might be vendors there. Hey, I had hot chocolate at this vendor, blah blah blah. And God, it was good. That kind of deal. So people going, wow, oh, okay, they got that vendor, and it helps. It helps them out, and it does a lot more than what you realize, knowing that it's going on, and it can. It brings up their morale, brings up people going, wow, okay. Because, you know, when you see somebody walking by and they've got this, say they got a handful of nachos, and they look at it, where the hell did they get that at? I want to know. It's even when you go to a fair. You know, if you go to a fair or anything like
exactly
that.
Where to get that food, yeah.
That looks good. Where do I get that food? And you run around, and there's so many vendors, and you don't know where it came from. You know, you feel rude to go up and go, hey, dude, where'd you get your food at? That's just a little wrong. But if somebody's advertising, going, hey, I had some of the great, give it a shot, there. And people go, hey, I'm going to look for that name. And they'll go look for it. But you're doing it for everybody, not just, you know, you pick something from every point, mounts on how long it goes on, and give it a try, you know, whatever. You know, hey, so-and-so selling cinnamon rolls, and these are great cinnamon rolls, you know. That kind of deal. Whatever the deal is.
That's when we get Taco Bell promoted on VRCDJLIVE as like a sponsor. We get all the Taco Bell.
Yeah, all the Taco Bell.
I should at least try.
Sponsor this man.
That would be amazing. Yeah, but yeah, no, that sounds like an amazing idea.
What you guys are talking. Yeah, but with like you guys like you and Ryan talking about headsets and different stuff like that. It's not just strictly the gear and stuff like this. It's the people that you meet, and that's going to be more, because guess what? Once they get back into VR. When they go home to get back in VR, they're going to look you up.
No doubt.
I know this guy. He was fun to talk to. I'm not just talking to you. It could be anybody there that you've interviewed or you're talking to or something like this. But it could be anybody, and stuff like that. It could be avatars. Now, where you were talking there for a minute, when you sat there and said, hey, you know, if you had an avatar, you had an avatar, and you were actually there at this convention, you had those people. I'd have a little trouble, because I'm actually 6 foot tall. I don't think I can shrink myself down to a foot tall and run around.
Oh, but
I don't think I can go that small.
I totally agree. I totally understand too, especially in VRChat and especially with the VR con. I think it's definitely a really good concept to kind of hash together at some point in time. Because I know I would absolutely love one. I mean, I'll go to anime conventions too and enjoy my time there. But speaking of time, we do have to cut this a little bit short because our next guest is here, ready to come on up in just a moment. But again, Lion Turtle and Raptor coming back for the second time. VRCDJ Live. Again, tell everybody at home where you could find more stuff, more videos for the Metaverse Degen.
Well, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube and YouTube Music. You can find us at Metaverse Degen. We have all the links on a card, metaversedegen.card.co. Everything's over there for you to find. And as a little teaser for Sunday's video, we're talking with a gentleman named Apotech, who is with Degen Tech, who's a physicist. So cool stuff in the community. Go find out later.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, if you run out of Twitch content, you got to go to YouTube and watch all those shows. You have to watch all your episodes, no doubt, because they are very entertaining. But again, guys, this is Vket. This is VRCDJ Live at Vket. Again, we are here for a little while, and we got a couple more guests coming on to the scene. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our next guest.